Veelia here, and I'm back with another Raid Rants. Today I have two top-tier Mythic Raiders with me. I'll let them introduce themselves, but we're going to have a really interesting conversation on the difference between Mythic split rating and Mythic non-split rating, I guess you would call it. So, guys, do you want to introduce yourselves?
You want to go first?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm Kib. I'm currently raiding in Strawberry Puppy Kisses. We raid not that much, like 16 hours a week. We don't do split runs, and we're trying our best to do as best as we can on the US ranking sides. Finished Golden US 10th, and that's about it. Previous experience goes to, like the normal stuff, just always been like top 10, top 25 US, and this is where I'm at now.
Cool.
I'm Cayna. I am a raider in Method, a world first raiding guild. I've been raiding with Method for about 9 months now. I joined just before Legion. My previous experience was like top 900. It's kind of casual, made a pretty big jump. Obviously, Method raids are like on progress like 14 hours plus a day. Many split clears, like at least 6 heroics. So
Yeah.
it's I'll be providing that point of view.
Cool. Why don't I start with asking you guys a little bit about your motivation behind raiding? So, Kibo, if you want to go, and then Kanya.
Well, the point of raiding is really just to kill bosses. I mean, that's the main the main attraction within the game itself. The other thing that comes with it is just the group thing that you have with your guild, like just getting to know people, and at some point it becomes like just a second group of friends when you're online and not in like the outside world. And that plays a big part, I think, as well, in like the longevity of things when you can get along with everyone that you're playing with. And it just makes, I don't know, it makes things within the game better. But the main focus is really to just kill bosses and find like interesting ways to like counter mechanics or whatever Blizzard throws at you. That like type of like a little bit of thinking on top of it, just not just mashing buttons and hope the boss dies. So that's basically what keeps me in with the community aspect of it, so with the discords and stuff now. That's kind of revitalized everything a little bit.
Okay, Kanya.
I don't know. I've always just been very much into Blizzard games, and I just tried out raiding, and I just liked it. Like most of the aspects, playing with friends and whatever. So I just kept playing, and at some point, I mean, I was always really interested in top end raiding, like the world first raids. I always followed it, and it just got to a point that the Method asked me to join, and I would gladly give it a try. And I don't know, like I just enjoy the game, and I like the raiding aspect of it. There's not much more to it.
Yeah. Have either of you played any other games at a competitive level or a hardcore level, or is like World of Warcraft the first game where you were like, "Hey, I'm pretty good at this. Why don't I try, competitive raiding?"
I played Heroes of New Earth when I was like 12 years old, 13 years old at a pretty decent level, but I never really most like amateur play. Also because of age, you can't commit to anything. But I mean, recently picked up Dota 2 again, which I've been playing a bit on the sides because it's like the first time it's like a little bit calm in World of Warcraft right now. So been picking that up again, and then like never really had time to commit to anything else. World of Warcraft was kind of the first thing I really committed to.
Yeah. And
Yeah, for me it was pretty much just Warcraft. I didn't really play that many computer games before. It was just casual console stuff on the side, and then I picked up WoW, and I got hooked, and played, and got better, and eventually it became my only game, basically. That dabble in other games here and there, but everything goes into WoW, basically.
okay, cool. Kenya, I'll have you start with the answer to this question, but where do you see the cutoff as like top tier? So when you see people like on MMO Champion or Reddit or Wowhead, and they're talking about like top tier guilds, where do you define like that cutoff at?
I guess for me it's like a difference between hardcore and top tier. I think top tier is really just like the top 5 guilds on the rankings, and then not like Hellfire Citadel, where I think it was Dragons or Pawan Sana that just randomly came in. Who ended up not doing so well in Legion. It's like really like this the sustained guilds like Method, Serenity, Exorcist from scratch, but they're disbanded now. So it was really just like those guilds, like the guilds that like you constantly do well. And then I would say really hardcore guilds, kind of like the top 20. They tend to do splits. They normally raid the first like 2-3 weeks. They do raid like a lot of hours. They normally have like people take off like a week of their job to progress at least for 1 full week, and then go to like a more like relaxed schedule of like 4 or 5 hours a day. And then I guess hardcore guilds like around 20 to top 100, who normally do like 1 or 2 splits, since splits with Legion is pretty easy. So yeah, that's kind of, and then everything behind it is just mostly like more casual.
Okay. And Kiba, how do you feel about the rankings of like top tier hardcore?
Yeah, I kind of share Kano's view on the top tier, which is like, like the consistent guild that do well for a long time. Like like when you say method, when you say like Exorcist, when you used to say Paragon, like that these guilds would always do very good,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
they would probably like cash in a couple, like if not world first, like kill it within a couple hours of the first and whatnot. Like they're basically like neck and neck in their progression. And then when it comes to hardcore, it just depends on the. I think that there's some sort of like a personal twist to that one, because, like for Cayna, that raids like I don't know how many hours, like 14 hours a day or whatever. Like for him, he's hardcore, and then for me, that's hardcore as well, because I raid like 16 hours a week. But then for someone that raids like 2 nights a week for 3 hours each, which is 6 hours, I'm hardcore compared to them because I raid, like 3 times more. But so there's that aspect there of like, like, so I guess you need to find the average and see what's hardcore for them to get the general like definition of it. But yeah,
I feel like it also kind of is dependent on the world ranks, because I know there's a guilds out there that raid like 12 hours a week that are getting consistently around the top 20 ranks, which is obviously just a lot of prep. There's a guild called Mist I used to raid with after Progress and Nighthold, who only do 1 split. They raid like 12 hours a week max, 3 days, and they still get consistently. I think they got like World 23 Hellier or something, which was very impressive.
Yeah.
So like even if they would drop like below 100 now, I would still say that that's a really hardcore guild just because of how serious it takes.
Right.
Kiba, would you consider like, I mean, SPK, I think you guys might kind of fall in that category where you don't do splits and you only raid, I think, 16 hours a week, right? But you still have been like pretty high. Like, I mean, as a guild, like, how does the guild see it?
We see ourselves as dirty casuals, but like I don't know, like the thing that when you talk about ranking wise, I feel like there's some kind of a thing that not a lot of people talk about is like, if you talk about just ranked in the hardcore ways, like the hardcore guilds rank wise are the guilds that killed bosses without videos. After the video is out, like it doesn't matter anymore, because you don't have to do any work. You just have to show up, and you like when the video comes out, you get like usually like 3 or 5 of them coming out like instantly, because they're all waiting for the first one to come out, and then all the other ones comes out. So you get like 3 or 4 point of views right away, and then you just like, oh, okay, this is good. I'll pick this up from this guy, and I'll pick this up from this guy, and then there you go. Like you don't have any work to do. So at this point, it just becomes a thing of like, are your raiders capable of doing XYZ? And it just becomes a dance. It doesn't really become something you have to learn. You just need to copy what they've done.
Okay.
Exactly.
There's that part that not a lot of people talk about. Like you've seen it like a lot recently. It's like a lot of guilds that kill like Gul'dan recently, or killed like Elisand recently, or like, I killed it in like 150 pulls. But it's like, you had like 12 videos to go off. You didn't have to learn anything.
At that point, it's just like, that's the skill level. I mean, this is like, it's kind of off topic, but this kind of goes into the reason why PvE will never be a big esports. Is because it just cannot be streamed under any circumstances. Everything in the top guild, it's not like, sure, like there's better players in the guild, like doubtless, like there's better people in method than I am. But at top end rating, it's just about tactics. And if you're ahead on the boss, then you just get the more information, and the next reset you can gear accordingly to it. You already have more pools, you already saw more of the fight, you already know more. So there's just no way to stream it. There will just be too much tactic leaks and stuff like that. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, that's true. Cool. So let's move into like I guess tactics or like things that guilds do to get in this hardcore rank or this top tier rank, and we can open up the discussion about split rating. If you guys think that it's necessary, absolutely necessary to be like a top tier or a hardcore guild, do you have to split rank and is it more about splitting or just about the time spending rating? Like taking off work to do it, and so I want to open up the discussion to that.
I'd say splitting is extremely necessary. I think splitting kind of started around Dragon Soul, and before Dragon Soul, if you will look at like how fast bosses are dying, if you look at Wrath of the Lich King, it's like so much longer. If you look at other expansions, so much longer. That's mostly because people just didn't have the gear. There's a video out there with like all world first recorded and like the time is spent on them. And as soon you start going more towards Cataclysm, the kill timers of the bosses go lower because people started splitting. They have more gear and they start blasting the content a lot faster. I mean, if you wouldn't split, like a top guild wouldn't split Nighthawk, I doubt Spellblade Area would have died. Like Spellblade Botanist has like with the execute tactic, where you kill people, they will start dying. You will like run out of people. Spellblade would have. I mean, we already hit Berserk on Method a couple of times with 6 splits in the first week. Crosus is simply a DPS check. Tychondrus has a pretty decent DPS check as well. If you look at guilds killing it now, they see the run into Berserk issues. Like Doubtful, like maybe like 4 or 5 bosses would have downed in the first reset, but I would say a lot of bosses simply wouldn't have died just because of lack of gear. Yeah. I mean, if you see how insane some 4 sets are, like, and some trinkets, it's insane.
Yeah. Kibo?
I think, well, personally, like, I think it's necessary for people like Method, Serenity, Exorcist to split raid because they're competitive amongst themselves. And if Method doesn't do it, Exorcist will, and they'll just crush them. And then that's not the goal of Method as a guild, So they have to follow what their competition does to some extent to remain competitive with them.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, if I go more to like where my guild is, where we haven't cleared anything, and on the first week we killed like 7 bosses, and we just didn't even try to kill Augur because it's not gonna happen.
We actually killed 7 bosses in the first reset without splits.
Yeah. Everyone was 54, and we cleared normal once, we cleared heroic once, and then we went into mythic. We cleared heroic again on the second.
Yeah, okay, then you. Yeah.
So basically, we did 2 normals, 2 heroic, and then we went into mythic. If that makes sense, for first lockout. And then lockout.
I kind of forgot that we actually did the splits. I think after we killed Spellblade and Corrosus.
Yeah. So then. But yeah, like we had 2 heroic clears and 2 normal clears when we walked into mythic, and but what Cayna said is still like very true. Like our guild we killed like Crosus like right on the enrage. We killed Tychondrius like right on the enrage. Like it was really tight. Obviously, more gear would have made it easier, but it always depends. Like for the goal of my guild is to be like top 20 US because we know that most people in the top 10 US are also doing splits, like just 2 or 3 splits, and we're not doing any. Mm-hmm. So just being able to compete with them and being like a little bit better than them is just like, or winning if you want. But it always becomes like a competitive thing at some point. Like if Method, Exorcist, Serenity like next year like goes with each other and they say like, well, this is becoming stupid. Let's just limit ourselves at 3 splits and let's just make it that the staple. Like,
and then in
comes
number 4.
Yeah. Well, no one will do it because they're all going to be like, they're just going to do 3 and we're going to crush them. But at the same time, like, it all comes down from the top. If the top starts doing something, you go down the ladders and the ladder will keep copying the step above them to better themselves.
Yeah.
You know? So you start at top 5 and then you get down to top 10, top 50, top 100, and everyone copies what's above them.
Yeah. Kenya, sorry, were you going to say something?
I mean, like, the thing is, like, even if you make an agreement in, like, top guilds itself, there's always going to be, like, that underhorse, like, no one expected Posana, for example, to get number 5. And if then there was an agreement of, like, them not doing split players to top guilds, but they would have done them, then they could have just, like, snagged a really cheeky, like, rolled third or rolled second somewhere. So I mean, it just kind of has to become a WoW agreement, which kind of just has to come from Blizzard more than anything else.
Yeah.
Because I don't think top guilds are themselves are gonna resolve it in any way.
Yeah. Talking about that, like that trickle down theory, I guess that you guys were talking about, where the top guild will do it, and then the mid tier, and then everyone will kind of copy them. What do you think about this phenomenon where heroic guilds or like super casual mythic guilds, like these people think now, since you guys are doing it, that split rating is necessary, or that like oh my gosh, like method split rating, so casual group who hasn't even killed, I don't know, like 4 out of 10 mythic bosses think that split rating is this thing that they have to do when the raids come out.
I kind of think Legion makes it a lot easier. I mean, so many people that I know, even that are casuals, have an alt because their main got shit legendaries. They want to have an alt that has like really good legendaries. So most guilds, they just have people that have like 2 alts. I know a lot of like smaller guilds that just have people that were like, wait, literally everyone in our roster has 2 alts. We're not gonna kill this boss this week. Let's just like go splits on them. Let's just like do a split next week. They YOLO with it. Like it's definitely not optimized as you will see like a top guild. But they started randomly doing splits and they got like some extra tier sets on the main raiders. Like there's no reason not to.
Yeah. So you think
But I mean, it's not necessary for them. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, if you want to clear faster, splits help because it only thing that you're gonna get from splits is more gear. But like more casual guilds, I'm not sure if every single raider even has max trades. So
That's the
instead of
thing.
like doing the splits, you might as well farm the trades on your main. The chance of like, especially like this far in, you can literally, if you need your last tier set, you can just do a normal clear and get it. If you need convergence trinket, you can just do a normal and try and get it. But you're better off just getting max trades actually on your main.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you feel the same way, Kimo?
Yeah, I don't think it's necessary for people. Well, like I said, it goes back to your competitive like group of guilds you're competing against. If no one splits, you don't need to split. If you want to get better, then them splitting might be, a thing you can do to further yourself. But I don't think like beside like the super hardcore top tier guild, like I don't think it's necessary, but it's something you can do to get better ranks to some extent. Yeah.
Yeah. I just find it
I mean,
crazy. Oh, go ahead.
I think a lot of people also like think wrong about splits. So like 2 months into the tier, they're like, "Oh my god, we can do splits now. Let's go!" It's like completely worthless. Like you already have the tier sets.
That's the problem. I think the problem is that a lot of people, a lot of guild raid leaders see, oh, Method's doing this, we have to do this because Method's good.
Yeah.
They don't understand why you do splits. They just like do 2 raids, and they don't think about like gear funneling. That's not what they they think about. They're just like,
exactly.
we have to raid twice.
I actually know a girl that is really smart about it. It's like a random 5 out of 10 mythic guild that actually had like 2 of the main raiders, like the really core raiders of them. They didn't have conversion trinkets, and they did the heroic already. So what they did is they went to normal. They had literally every single person go like a spec that could loot conversions, gold personal loot, and then 2 people would randomly loot it and trade them.
Oh, we do
Like,
that
that was-
still in my guild. We're only a 6 out of 10 mythic, and we maybe have like 1 mage with a whispers. We have like 1 whispers throughout the whole group, and so we'll have all the healers go like spec DPS, and when we kill Gul'dan, like we're trying to get them whispers because
Yeah.
But
I mean,
yeah.
That's pretty fun to see, but yeah, I don't know. I don't think people really understand where splits are for, and especially like if you're already this long in the tier, like if you never split it, and you're gonna like already 3 weeks into tier, you're just gonna have to look at your like raiders, like okay, how many people have forced it, how many people have this trinket, then that might be worth. But like once you're 1 month in the tier, like don't bother. You might as well take the time to raid progress and actually kill the bosses because they're killable.
Yeah.
You just need to get your tactic right and go at it.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's really interesting, and I agree for the most part. And I just find it so weird that like it's you guys really set the example, and then all these other guilds like they just they mimic, even though sometimes they don't get it.
Yeah.
And that it kind of leads me into my next topic that I want to discuss. And I didn't put this on the sheet, so this is coming out of nowhere, but I just thought about it. And I want to talk about kind of the burnout that we're seeing with top tier rating and with like I guess like a lot of raiders in general. It was more in Warlords of Draenor. There was a lot of burnout there, and Legion kind of brought it back. But now we're seeing this huge drop off in hardcore guilds, especially some of the ones that used to be like right up there. And So why do you think that's happening? Do you think it's because of the splits? Do you think it's because of all this like time invested into raiding your weapon, getting all the things necessary like legendary farming? So I'll let you guys take it.
It's pretty funny actually, because I was gonna do a method video about this about burnout in a few weeks. Actually, it's next reset week, so it comes in pretty handy. I think people are just burning out because before top end rating literally was like, okay, raid 2 would come up, you would have heroic week, then you would have to you didn't have to take off work from it, but you would need like at least the evenings free so you could do your splits. And then mythic week, you obviously need to take off around 2 weeks, which was like very normal, like 40 days taking off work is considered normal in a top end guild. And then you would just go at it for 2 weeks, and then afterwards you kind of have to see like, okay, can you take off? Do we have to go evenings? I mean, I think Argument lasted 2+ resets, and then you saw like guilds like Method actually go to like nighttime or like afternoon hours because people literally just had to go back to work. You couldn't take off more. And right now the expansion is like you start AP farming a month before, you're constantly playing the game, then you do your heroic splits, you take your mythic splits, you have you're unlucky with legendary as well. That's unlucky, you might as well reroll. Your alt demon hunter got your best in slot. Fuck your main, go farm on your alt right now. Like, it is absurd. I've seen so many people literally just like mid farming reroll to another spec, to another spec or something because of legendaries. I don't even think AP is the biggest issue. Honestly, farming one full trade, I personally farmed 2 for Nighthalt. It was fun. I mean, you're playing it with friends. I guess maybe from my end it also helps because I stream, so I can turn on my stream and can interact with viewers as well. Yeah. But I like, especially like one full trade without streaming, without like playing with friends, I wouldn't even mind that much because, I mean, right now it's just expected. I think the biggest issue also is like legendaries and Titan Forts, where you want to start doing your splits quite early already. I mean, we're already trying like 2 times mythic splits. You're always gearing up. You're always doing your normal still. You do, or at least it's optimal. You can still do your heroics, and just try and get the cheeky like Titan Force stuff. Like, there's no breakpoints anymore. It's like right now you can play the game 100% of the time if you want to be as good as you can. It's not like, okay, here's your heroic week, your mythic week. You're done. Go take like a week break, and now you just go raid like a few days a week. It's not that anymore. And I think that combined for like an extended period of time, it's just taking its toll on so many guilds.
Yeah, it pretty much summed it up.
Yeah.
It's just the constant like grind is just grinding into people. Because like Kayna said, like you can play the game forever and never be done.
Yeah.
Because you can get that loot from everywhere.
Yeah.
Like if you want the best trinket, like you can just run Mob Soul 24/7 until you get a 925 with a socket memento.
Or you can just go to another far and loot the 925 12 with socket that's been going around.
Right. Yeah, we've all seen that picture. Yeah. Like and next week when 7.2 comes out, it's going to be the same debate. Like people will go into the Broken Shore and they'll farm like the mobs to get the nether shards forever, and then they'll buy trinkets with them, and I can guarantee you next week there's some guy.
Yeah. Huh? It's already going to happen with Karasan. If you know the healing back in Karasan, yeah?
Yeah.
Like even they nerfed it to 5%, it's a stat and it has an effect. Like it's going to be best in slot for you for progression downright. So every single top guild is just going to fucking blast Karasan out.
Yeah.
I mean, same with the ring. Like if the ring can proc up to high Titan Force from the last boss with the shadow effect, it's minimal damage. But if you do it like times, exactly, like especially with like dominance of melee right now, like you saw how many rogues and demon hunters there were. If that ring is good for them, and you're gonna have it on like 10 people, that might be like 400k. Like if the effect's like 40k, that's like 400k of one use.
It stops a 1% wipe effectively, basically. Yeah.
Pretty much, like. There's like so much optimizing you can do. There's so much extra farming you can do, especially with Karasan becoming Mythic Plus. Like you're just gonna see that you're gonna see that dungeon a lot.
Yeah.
And for hardcore raiders, I don't think it's a problem because y'all. I mean, I assume you really like playing the game, and that's why you're doing it. But it's interesting to see like the contrast between Warlords of Draenor and everyone's like, I need content, give me content, and then Blizzard's like, you want content? Here it is, like endless amounts of things to do in the game, and then you see almost the opposite effect, and everyone's leaving this still, so it feels like there's almost nothing they can do.
I mean, people like Blizzard said they rush it too much, which is kind of true. I think if you're like a casual guild and you slowly progress, you don't do your splits, like you don't enforce trades, but you just have people playing the game, you will be fine. Like so many people quit
Yeah.
because like half their guild doesn't have like the 54 trades, and if you literally just because the raiders don't want to play the game, like people are just like in the mindset of warlords where you log in for your raid night, you do your raid and you log off again. Right now, you really just want to log in because I have a Vesper weapon and I had like 35 trades in it before Nighthawk started, and it's almost 54 now, and I don't play the game that much. If you're in a casual guild and you do your emissaries and you go in like log in like here and there like twice a week or something, do some Mythic Plus with friends, by now you will have your weapon maxed, and that's like when your progress really starts picking up. So like so many guilds are like stuck on like corrosives, and you just hear like half the guild doesn't have max trades. It's like, yeah, Blizzard wants you to start playing the game, and those people start quitting because the content is too hard because they're too lazy to play the game.
Yeah. Do you, on the topic of too hard, do you think that the raids themselves, like the boss encounters, have gotten harder over the years from like BC, Wrath to now? Or do you think it's just a totally different game and like it's not something that you can compare, I guess, boss difficulty?
I think player base got better.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at arguments, like the weak aura there was necessary for so many guilds.
There's like some fights that you have to have a weak war for. You just almost can't do that.
Not, I wouldn't
have
say
it.
have to, but it makes it
Exactly.
way easier.
It makes it way more doable. Like if you compare the Paragon kill video where they went with the act tactic, it was very risky. You would lose a lot of damage on the boss. Well, Method literally just had the radar. You could see perfectly if you were gonna hit or not, and you could have them really stay around the boss and just maximize the damage. Like that was a really good thing, but it wasn't necessary. It just made it easier. And I think right now Blizzard kind of was like, yeah, we don't like that, so they removed the radar, and then they removed if you saw the Exorcist Gul'dan video or the Star Archer video, like where they had those insane weakers with the KUI nameplates. Like they don't want that. So I think the game is kind of just at the point now where every guild can deal with mechanics, and I feel like they can only make bosses harder with DPS checks. I mean, Nighthawk is a pretty good example. Star Archer, DPS checks. Alessandra, you would hit Enraged. Like 100, you can hit Enraged. Spellblade, you can hit Enraged. Crow's the same thing.
Yeah.
So there's just kind of shooting kind of fights like that, but...
So you're saying that like mechanics can't really get harder because there's always going to be a weak or out there that'll help people through it, but like what's really hard is getting people at the DPS level or the skill level to finish the fight in time.
I mean, it's just going to be like you're gonna have the mechanics, you're gonna have the ways to deal with it, but you do need to deal with it. And if you screw up too many times, you just won't kill the boss because you won't hit the DPS check.
Yeah, as the player base gets better, Blizzard also needs to get smarter with how they do mechanics.
Yeah.
Because I think we kind of seen this more in HFC where it's like they couldn't think of new mechanics, so they just threw like 16 of them at you at once, and you're like, hey, deal with it. Like there's 16 things happening.
Yeah.
But and then I think and then you go to Nighthawk where there's a less amount of mechanics, but each mechanics are a little bit more complex. So the difficulty stays relatively the same, but you have a harder time finding a good strategy because the mechanic is harder instead of having like 20 mechanics to deal with. Exactly. And I think that's a better way to go about it for Blizzard and for the player base as well, because it opens door to more interesting tactics.
The only thing that I don't like about what they're doing right now is if you look at Helya, it was like 12 minutes fight. Gul'dan was like a 60-minute fight. Is they need to be careful with how long they make boss fights because they're not fun. Like doing
I think that probably leads to the burnout too when you're doing a fight for like 20 minutes. And it's like
I don't know. It's more depressing than burnout.
Yeah, exactly.
You won't quit the game. You won't quit the game because you're wiping at 10 minutes on Helya just before reaching. What's gonna happen is you'll do the fight and then someone's gonna make a mistake because that's just what progress is. Like people just make mistakes every pull and it happens that you wipe, and someone will keep making a mistake at like 10, 12 minutes. And then you just scrap everything you've done for the past 15 minutes because then you need to regroup, you need to rebuff, you need to repull, and it just becomes a waste of time. Like I'm sure like Method are in the same boat as us and that, but like when we killed the Gul'dan, like the mythic kill, I think for the hour and a half before we killed the boss, we had like 5 pulls.
Yeah,
Like
pretty
it's
much.
depressing. Like you're
It
used
is
to,
really is.
you're used to get to boss. It's like pull, 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 pull.
Yeah.
Like the tactic is down. We got the tactic. We just need to execute it. Like pull, 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 pull. And then you get to that boss where it's like,
I feel like the worst thing about Gul'dan is that there's more chances people randomly die in phase 1 than there's phase 2.
yes,
Phase 2 is just like you have to be spread. You kill the big eye before it splits and
yeah,
stuff. And you need to make sure that you soak it. Like Gul'dan in principle, phase 2 is pretty simple. It's just phase 1 damage with like the bonds. Like if you get knocked to the wrong spot, you
Yep.
might just die because you don't have your healing bubble. The race just has to like run into an hellfire to soak you or whatever. I feel like that's like make the fight. I mean, I don't mind a long fight, but it's just annoying on farm, especially like when you do 3 pulls on the boss, so you know you can already kill it and you have more gear, and it's just like small personal mistakes. It's just boring more than anything else.
Yeah. And the thing that I really hated about Gul'dan as well is like they make a 15-minute boss
And
where
then
you
the
have to
ending.
like stop DPS like 2
Yeah.
times, and it's like, why couldn't you just make it like a 10-minute boss where you don't have to stop DPS?
I mean, I personally think like a fight like Black Hand is like really nice.
Yes.
Like it's still a decent long fight. I think it was like 6-7 minutes. It's constantly a DPS chap. It's like explosive. You fuck up, you're done for. And if someone dies, you're also just like done for. I feel like that's kind of like an end boss that I like. I mean, I don't mind a fight like Veelia where it's like really control heavy. Like you don't have to stop DPS. And like the more DPS you do, the more things you can actually skip. But a fight like Gul'dan is like 60 minutes, a boring phase 1 and mediocre phase 2. You have to like stop your DPS a couple of times, and the ending is just like you fall asleep. That's not not the greatest of designs. It was difficult, but it wasn't very fun. And I have lights on my head.
Probably blinds or something. I think it's fine. So talking about, like, I guess boss mechanics and preparing for these kind of fights, how much time do each of you and your guilds dedicate to PTR testing and seeing the fight before it's released?
Everything.
Yeah.
Obviously, with how early PTR testing came, I think that was like literally almost right after we killed Gul'dan. Method and I've know Serenity also did. They said like we're not going to guild test this. I personally went there. I went with other guild or went with a puck to just like see the bosses because I was curious. But like every single mythic testing and stuff, like you're expected to be there, and especially with like big rosters, you're recording, you're looking. Like if you take a look at Veelia, we kind of knew how the orbs worked just from PTR testing. They knew they first they target the ranged and the healers, and it's like always the healers, and it's then the melee, and like what healer does it take, what healer not. There's already things you try out in PTR, and they're essential when the game actually goes live. So especially for top end rating, it's like PTR testing is so important.
Yeah, Matt, Kibo.
We watch streams of people do PTR.
and
then we just
figure out stuff.
Yeah, we just figure out stuff from what they do, and it turns out most of the time we're right, but based on just, like you can see people do the fight, and then you realize how mechanic works together, but we just don't have the requirement of people going on the PTR and doing it. We always have like I'd say like half the raid just do it because they're curious, because they want to do it, because they whatever, but it's not an actual like requirement to be done.
Yeah, obviously for like a top guild, it's different. Like if there's like a big DPS check, like Butcher, for example, like you can watch like 10 seconds of the fight, and you would understand how it works. But as a top guild, it's like also important to know like when is the enrage timer, or like can you immune this? And often pucks don't think about it. So for top end guilds, it's like you really want to go there with your own player base because you have some of the world best players, or maybe you can go further into the fight, or you want to test out specific things that those streams don't look at.
Yeah, that kind of comes down to what we were talking about earlier. Like these guys need their strategy there, like
exactly.
from the get-go for every boss, because their intent is to get to like the last boss or to kill everything in the first lockout.
Yeah.
Where when you get to a guild like mine, our intent is to kill like the quote-unquote like easier boss the first week, and then when we get to the second lockout, the videos will be out, and then we're like, easy, like that's the difference there.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, we've covered a lot like of the other questions that I had just coming up in conversation, but something that I wanted to ask was Legion as a whole. What do you guys think of the expansion? Like, do you like the way that legendaries work? That I mean, we kind of covered this, but like you personally, and like how, and like maybe as your guild, like, and what would you change about it? Like, if you could have like a perfect sort of like expansion where it's like this is how legendaries work and this is how gearing works, and for each of you, how would you do that?
I would actually I have one thing about artifact power. I would like a gating system, which kind of goes into what I think that should have happened. Where okay, in the first week it's just heroic. You don't have the extra traits. Like I'm just talking about like the extra traits you get now, right? So like the 5% and 5.5, 6, etc. And the next week you will get 2 more. First week you will get 4, then 6. And it kind of just goes in the part that I think Blizzard wants, that people keep playing the game constantly. Because you don't feel like, oh, you have to farm like 2 weeks beforehand to get all the traits. But during progress, you can just like, on your off nights, you can just log on, do some Mythic Plus, and you will get the traits really easy. I think from like 35 to 54 was like 200 something. So like a week, like what would you have to do? Like maybe 20, which really isn't a lot over a week. And I feel like that would be a lot nicer. That also stops like top guilds from burning out a lot more, because we don't need to farm all those AP things. I mean, you have players that play the game regardless, so they will have some trades ready. But we wouldn't need to like sit like 2 weeks in front, just like play the game. I feel like that would be pretty nice.
I agree.
Yeah, I think that this, but then you need to add in another thing on top of that as well, because like, sure, like if they limit the amount of traits you can get, people will just like farm their traits a little bit slower. But the problem is Titan forging on top of that. So like, why would you stop farming like the Mythic Plus all the time because gear can get better than raid gear in there? I think that a good solution to Titan forging would be to limit it at plus 15. You know,
I mean,
so like this way you'd have a hard cap on Titan forging.
I think it was perfectly done in TOV almost, where there was no reason to go, because Helya would drop the max idol level.
Yeah.
And I think it is absurd. Like, we killed Gul'dan last week and we got a 925 socketed ring. And if you looked at the master loot, everyone pressed main spec. Every single player. And then it just goes like, okay, who might reroll? And if Gul'dan would just drop the max idol level, you wouldn't have that. And I already really dislike that there's like Titan Force on like after killing the mythic boss. Like, it's like one of the most annoying systems I think there is. I mean, I'm running about Nightmare.
Ideally, I'd remove Titan Forge as well, but if they want to keep it, I think having a cap to it would be nice. Like, not having a cap based on, you know, Gul'dan drops 910 loot, so the Titan Forge cap is 925 for everything. Like, I think that's kind of crap. I mean, but I'd like a cap where, let's say the boss dropped 900 loot, then the maximum Titan Forge you can get is 915. But the boss dropping 880 loot, the maximum cap you can get is 895. So at some point, it would diminish the value of older content, because right now, like, I know that there's still people like doing Emerald Nightmare every week. Yeah, they still do Emerald Nightmare. They still do like everything. And then like when you think forward, like, what are you going to do? Like when Argus is out, like when the raid after TOV is out, like you still have people farming like Ursoc to get like an eye level like 1000 like Bloodthirsty Instinct.
Exactly.
Like, what is this? Like, it doesn't make sense.
Like, right, like if you look at TOV, like, it doesn't matter. Like, when TOV came out, it was expected. When Nighthawk came out, like, you looked at the trinkets, and some trinkets is very good. So it was normal that, like, right now I have an 885 BTI that beats like a 905 from Spellblade. Like, the trinket is just strong, sure. So there's a reason to go back, even if it wasn't 895 either level there. But as you say, like, over time, when Argus is out, do I really want to go back to a tier where I can practically almost solo bosses to try and get a Titan Force loot? Like, it's just not a fun. It's not fun.
It's really stupid.
Yeah.
And throughout all of that, you'll have LFR people like showing off screenshots like, look, I got an eye level 10,000 BTI with a socket. Like,
I'm in a lot of Facebook groups and stuff, and then you see like some casual player that like logs on twice a week, and they're like, "This legendary like just leveled my person to like 110," and I'm like, "Kill me! I still don't have my Jonats." Like,
well, with the change to legendaries, like people are getting legendary at level 101 now, and it happens quite often that in Discords, like you see people like being like, "Hey, I'm leveling my alt. Is this item good?" And they link like Abyss legendary.
Yeah, exactly. No, I mean, I can't complain too much about legendaries, because I think I have like 4 or 5 characters with double best in slot and stuff.
Nice.
Like I think I have like 29 of like one Cerberus and one Magnus or something, so I'm pretty lucky. But it doesn't mean that I like the system.
Right.
It's annoying because like together with the AP trades, aspects are so annoying.
Yeah.
It makes the game less fun.
I
I don't
agree
understand that.
100% on that. I really do. And something that I really liked about having an alt is like being able to get the alt like, really high and like, good to
Yeah.
go. And you can do that now, but it's just so much time invested in the game to have
Mm-hmm.
one alt, two alts, that's double, like three alts, it's almost like it's like you just don't have the time in the day to really maintain a lot of these
Yeah.
characters. And I think I talked about this a little bit last week, but what I like too is having my character full bist, like a wrath or something, like standing in like a city, it's like I know that my character
Exactly.
can't get any better, and it just, I guess
I
the show off
mean,
aspect.
they already screwed it up with Gul'dan mount alone. Like the fucking
Yeah.
heroic mount is more
Yeah.
red than the mythic one. It's
Yeah.
so stupid.
It's and I feel like that's kind of been a trend. Like every expansion, they've kind of been like cutting down like the show offy aspect of like
Mm-hmm.
top rating and and we talked a little bit about y'all's motivation and the for doing top rating, and I know a lot of it's probably like personal like skill, but the reason that I like I'm not a top rater at all, but the reason that I like try for mythic is still so I can be like, hey, look at my achievement, like, hey,
Yeah, exactly.
like all this stuff. And when they don't even make the mounts different, like it really is like, it's kind of disappointing.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like the worst thing is just about like artifact. I mean, about legendaries especially is it's not fun. Like I have 8 characters. They're all like 4 set 900 item level. I like playing the game. I like raiding a lot. But when my feral druid, which like no one plays, just gets like 2 shit legendaries, I'm kind of like I don't want to play this character anymore.
Yeah, you're done with that
Yeah.
Because
character.
yeah, you don't want to play it because you're never gonna be like full bis.
Yeah.
Like it's fun like looting on your shadow priest like a 915 legs and like 925 head. It's awesome. Pisses off my raid leader a lot. But then you go to your shadow priest and like, yeah, this insane loot and it's like 2 poor legendaries, so I'm still never gonna beat people that have double bis. So
Yeah. Yeah,
it is fun. It just removes showing off system so much, and I would like them to remove it. And they're doing something the next patch with like your off specs can get 2 legendaries really easily.
Yeah.
I think they said something like that, which is nice with off spec. But again, if you get 2 shit legendaries on your off spec, you're still not gonna be happy.
Yeah, or if you got like Cephus and the deck, you're fucked on both your spec because they're general legendary, so they count for every spec. Which is
I think they
cool.
made sure that if you have like general legendaries, you wouldn't
They don't
get
count.
them in.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they did that.
that would make sense, but
Yeah, I hope they do at least.
I guess they kind of give us a tool, I guess, to farm legendaries with the new Broken Isle thing, where you can just kill mobs there, get currency, trade in the currency for like a helm token, and then your helm token you have like 1 chance in a billion to get the helm that you want. But that's just another dumb system because I know that most people will just go there and they'll just buy trinkets 24/7 just because like they can drop raid trinkets.
Poor monks, man.
Yeah.
Just gonna farm the belt to get the wrong one.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
man.
But it's stupid again because like you'll have again like people farming like just currency on an island and opening like a 925 with a socket Drought of Soul when they haven't even killed LFR bosses. Like I don't know.
It is. I don't know. It's just frustrating. Like even for top end raiders, like or people that actually care, like the people that really raid, they mostly care about the legendaries. Like if you're like kind of casual, you don't have a double best slot. Like it doesn't affect you as much as being like a World raider. And then right now we're gonna have to make the choice like, do I want to farm this? Do I want to farm the AP? Like how are you gonna do it? You're gonna have too much things to farm.
Yeah.
It's just gonna be annoying.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like another one of those things that you can choose like, oh here, go play the game a little bit more, go grind this shit out, and good luck.
Yeah. I think they're catering more towards like the casual, I guess, like raider or the casual, not even the casual raider, like the casual player who like they want them to log on, have the chance at something awesome by killing a bear or something, and it keeps them in the game because they're the majority of the players in the game, and I understand that from a business perspective, but at the same time, they can't forget about the people that I think the majority of the streamers, the majority of the people who like bring in new players to the game are these like influential people in these top guilds and the people who do care about that kind of stuff. So
exactly.
it's a balance. But do you guys have anything to say that to close out on this topic? Each of you, like anything that I forgot to mention or that you want to mention on the topic?
Fuck RNG.
Yeah.
I agree with Kip on this one. Lower the RNG on everything. Make end bosses just like drop the highest item level loot. Figure out a way to make those legendaries less RNG. Stop adding more legendaries for the love of God.
Mhm.
And hopefully just do some gating system with AP. At least don't make us farm AP for 2 weeks in front. Don't make like a raid tier pretty much be like 2 months. Just let it be the raid tier itself.
Yeah. Okay.
That'd be my wishes.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I think this has been a really great conversation, and I hope a lot of people give their own opinions in the comments. So make sure if you have an opinion either way, or if you agree with any of these guys, let me know in the comments below. And also let me know if who you want me to interview next, or what topic that you'd like to see me cover in the future. The first 2 videos, these were my 2 big ideas, so I'm open to suggestions. But thank you, Kanya, and thank you, Kib, for agreeing to come on here and be my second guinea pigs on my new Raid Rant series. I really appreciate it. You guys,
Thank
you have
you for having me.
Yeah. Their y'all's Twitters are linked on the screen, but if you viewers, if you want to also follow their streams, I know both of them stream actively. They're also linked in the comments below, so make sure to give them a follow on Twitter and on Twitch. And that's about it. So thanks, guys, for watching, and we'll see you again next time. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.